Hey there, thanks for joining me today on Fridays with Flora, and today we're celebrating fall. It's the first day of fall this week, but not today, a few days ago. So the best way to celebrate fall, in my opinion, is slow roasting a chicken. Getting that oven on, which you've pretty much had off all summer because you don't want to heat the house up. Now it's getting chillier in the late afternoons and the early mornings, so it's really nice to slow roast either a pot roast or a pork loin, or my favorite, a whole chicken. Now I've been roasting whole chickens for a while, and I've had good experiences and bad experiences, and I've also learned from my mom some tips and tricks, so I'm going to show you today, not necessarily very recipe specific, but just 4 to 5 really good tips on slow roasting a whole chicken. And if you follow these tips, you're going to have a delicious chicken to enjoy, you know, on a weekend, or, you know, if you can spatchcock it, you can actually cut the time off and do it during the week. So enjoy some fall, enjoy a slow roast chicken, and enjoy a pumpkin spice latte while you're at it. Here you go. Okay, first we need a whole chicken. And you can get these at the grocery store. We like to get the Never Any brand at Aldi. It's a really great price, and it's organic. This is about 5.5 pounds. That's about how much they go for. And first things first, you want to get it out of its packaging, and you want to get everything out of the cavity. And you can put them at the bottom of your pan if you want to save them and eat them if you like. You know, the kidneys, the heart, the liver. I grew up in an Italian family. Chicken liver was actually a delicacy. I like to just put them at the bottom of the roasting pan. It kind of helps richen up the pan juices, in my opinion. I'm letting you know to get everything out of the cavity before you brine it and cook it. My brother and his girlfriend did not know that and actually cooked their chicken with the package and everything in the middle. So that didn't work out so well. So that's why I'm letting you know the basics here. So I'm gonna run this under cold water, get everything out, and we'll put it in our brining solution. It's around noon. We're gonna have dinner around 6:37, so I like to brine our chicken for a couple hours before I get the spice rub all over it. All right, so we've pulled our insides out. I'm going to store these in the fridge until I'm ready. I am gonna use them at the bottom of my pan. I've rinsed our chicken, and I've got a big bowl here. You need a bowl that's going to be able to hold your chicken and water. This is the most basic brine. The most basic brine is salt and water. I actually add a little sugar in mine. So for about a 5-pound chicken, I've got about a 1/2 cup of sugar and about a 1/2 cup of kosher salt. And honestly, even if you go over or under on this, it doesn't matter, because the muscle of your meat will only be able to take as much water as it can. So it kind of self-regulates. What does brining do? At the most basic layman terms, the salt kind of unwinds the protein, like the kind of the structure of the meat, kind of, if you would say, unwind or kind of loosen it. And in doing that, it's able to absorb more water, which is why when you brine a turkey or a chicken and cook it, it's got more moisture and it's got a really more delicate, tender texture. So since we've been brining our chicken, I like chicken. I usually don't like chicken. I feel like it's rubbery, it has no flavor. Brining really does transform your meat. So I'm gonna add water to this. So what I'm gonna do is dissolve this with cold water. Don't go all the way to the top because your chicken's gonna go in here and you don't want things to overflow. This is probably where I'm going to stay. I'm gonna dissolve that up. All right, so you can see this is clear. And now all you do is you put your chicken in. I put it breast side down because that's really what we're trying to do, is really improve that breast meat. And you can see how I'm already pretty crammed in there, but it's in there. As long as you're top meat is covered, you're good. I'm gonna put plastic wrap over it, put it in the fridge. Store it and soak it for a couple hours. Okay, so the next step after you've brined your whole chicken for a couple hours, you rinse it really well under the water, inside the cavity and out, because you want to rub some of that extra salt off of your bird. You've basically done your job by, infusing moisture into the meat. Then you dry it really well, and then I've had this sitting out for about 45 minutes. You want to take some of the chill off and get it not exactly at room temperature, but, about that. Then my other tip is you want to dress your bird. And what I like to do first is get my fingers under the skin and loosen it. Now, you guys out there that are squeamish about meat, my sister hates handling chicken. She's one of those people. Sorry, Jackie, didn't mean to call you out. But if you are weirded out by touching food like this, this is cooking, This is it. So if you have a problem with it, then maybe, try roasting just some chicken breasts. But either way, this is the best way to dress your bird. You want to loosen up the skin. The other thing I like to do on the legs to get the skin loosened up for me is I make a tiny little slit in the skin like that. I stick my finger in. What you're doing is you're having the skin work for you as like a little pocket. It's gonna keep a lot of your seasonings and flavoring close to the meat as it roasts. Some people just like rubbing the chicken on top of the skin, and we can do that too. But I like flavoring the meat because that's what we like to eat. That's what you're eating. So, so get that all loosened up. Make sure your cavity is nice and clear. And we're going to get my rub and get it all in there. So this is a paste I made with lots of cool spices and red pepper flakes and zest, smoked paprika, and olive oil. The one I make for my turkey, it's like chopped up herbs, lemon juice, white wine, and olive oil. But basically, you can choose how you want to dress your bird. It's up to you. And I start by getting it inside and under the skin. Rub it all in there. Ooh, yeah. Then get some in your leg. Okay, once you've got your front, your top, you're going to turn it over. And you're also going to do the same on the bottom. Sometimes it's hard to get the skin loosened, so again, do some knife marks to cut in areas. The reason why I like doing the bottom too is because I'm actually going to roast this, not to steal my thunder on our video here, but I like roasting the chicken upside down for a little bit first. It keeps the breast moist. So if it's upside down and the juices are kind of rolling down onto the breast, you want to make sure that those juices are as seasoned as the top. So get it all in there, get it down on those legs. All right, well, once you got all that done, I take half of what's left with my hand And now I rub the top. Flip over and get that. With whatever little I've got left, I'm also going to kind of coat the cavity. There you go. You've got a rubbed bird. Messy. Good food does not come without getting your hands dirty. Get some citrus in the cavity. Lemon is really good. There's orange zest in this rub, so I thought I would use an orange. But generally speaking, a lemon or two inside is great. This keeps things moist. So I like to get the cut side up against the breast. Shove a couple orange quarters. You can also inside put in some garlic cloves. You can quarter an onion. All this is going to do is infuse some flavor from the inside. But the biggest thing for the citrus, like I said, keep things moist. Sometimes I even shove whole herbs in here too. Some parsley, some whole basil, bay leaves. So that's tip number 3. Let the cavity work for you. You know, don't ignore it. Fill it with some good stuff that fits with your flavor profile to keep the chicken moist. Now, the other tip is to let it sit a little bit. Let the flavors of whatever you dressed it with kind of infuse a little bit before you throw it in the oven. Let it come up to room temp. You could even let it sit for a few hours if you want in the fridge, but then I recommend it coming up to room temp before you put it in the oven. If you're strapped for time, I would say like let it sit at room temp for about 15-20 minutes. Let the flavors meld while maybe you're getting other things ready, and you're getting the oven preheated. This is going to go in at a hot oven at 425. I think we're looking at about a 155 internal temp. If you need it to go faster for a weeknight, this is definitely more of a weekend kind of project. But if you want to do a roasted whole chicken for a weeknight, you can spatchcock the chicken. And if you don't know what that means, I have a really easy kitchen basics video on my channel. Look at the kitchen basics playlist. I'm going to show you how to basically, if this were turned over, you could cut the spine and flatten it, and it cuts the roasting time of a chicken. It's pretty cool. Check it out. So anyway, truss up your legs, and it just kind of keeps everything inside, keeps everything nice and neat, cooks things evenly on your legs, so your time will be okay, and you've got the oven going at preheating. Okay, so as I mentioned before, when it's time to roast the chicken, the biggest tip I can tell you is to roast it breast side down for the first half. This is in a oven-proof skillet. It's got some pan juices at the bottom. You're going to want to check on it and add water. Sometimes recipes are going to ask for vegetables along the bottom, or sometimes you want to cook with potatoes. And that's all great, but a lot of that juice goes into the potatoes, and then you don't have a lot of pan juice for your gravy or to put on top of the meat. So a lot of times I just like cooking the potatoes separate. This recipe, you end up pulling the chicken out and reducing the pan juices and putting them on top of some smashed boiled potatoes, and then just hitting them in the oven to brown up a little bit while this rests. So it pretty much follows kind of my favorite way to do potatoes with roasting chicken. All right, this is going to go in, and I'll put my timer at 35 minutes, and then I'll flip it over. Okay, took an hour and a half. And now we're gonna let it rest for about 30 minutes. We're gonna take the pan juices and throw them on our boiled potatoes. So be sure to baste as you go. Remember to turn it over halfway through, and that's one of the best tips I could give you for roasting a whole chicken. Tender and cooked perfectly. Look at that. Look at that. Look how tender this chicken is. So, follow my tips and you're gonna enjoy roasting it up for the fall. Have a great weekend and thanks for joining me on Fridays with Flora. Bye.